Hello YouTube and welcome to my second video. Feeling a tad less scared this time? Maybe? Anyway, I was going to film a video on gear today, showing you exactly what is in my camera bag, but after a few of you got in touch with pricing questions following my first video, I thought uncovering some of my pricing strategies would be more useful right now. I'm Ellie, a photographer, filmmaker and creative educator, sharing how to take better photos, create better films, build smarter business systems and live with a more sustainable work-life balance. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're back to watch this after seeing my first video, thank you for sticking with me. So in my last video I talked about being busy but broke, working constantly, saying yes to everything and still feeling like the numbers never quite added up. Today I want to talk about why that happens for so many photographers, and for me it almost always comes back to pricing. If you're busy, exhausted and still worried about money, there's a good chance your pricing is the real issue. Being busy doesn't automatically mean your business is healthy or profitable. Before we go any further, I want to be really clear. This is not a just charge more because you're worth it video. Because when I was told that early on, it didn't help. It just made me feel awkward, guilty, completely uncomfortable. I lacked the confidence in my work to simply charge more. Besides, what does it even mean to charge your worth? How do you calculate your worth? Yes, photographers do have a tendency to undercharge, and most undercharge for really understandable reasons. We compare ourselves to people who are further ahead, we're scared of losing inquiries, we don't actually know our numbers, and we think being busy means we're doing well. So we lower our prices to book more work, and then burn out faster, and nothing really changes. My turning point wasn't a sudden one. It was a slow realization that I could actually earn more per hour in a minimum wage job. I was looking at my business through rose-tinted glasses, convincing myself that the burnout was worth it to be doing what I love. Side note, do you want me to let you in on a little secret? I have a degree in mathematics and a master's in business and management, which makes it even more embarrassing that it took me so long to figure out where I was going wrong. One of the most basic and fundamental things we are taught as business owners is how to calculate our profit, yes? Sales minus expenses equals profit. Hands up if you leave your tax return to the last minute. You sit down, you add up all of your sales and your expenses, and you're pleasantly surprised when you've actually made a profit and not a loss. I think I read somewhere that here in the UK, around 60% of small businesses fail within their first 3 years. That's over half that don't survive. So if you do manage to make a profit doing something you love, that's quite an achievement. But making a profit isn't worthy of celebration unless it's enough to have supported your lifestyle all year. Let's assume for a second you're a full-time professional photographer and your self-employment is your only source of income. You look at your tax return figures and smile at the £6,000 profit you made from what was your hobby. What would you do with that £6,000? Buy some more equipment? Book a holiday? Could you live off of it for a year? Because that's what you've been doing. This business of yours has paid you a salary of £6,000, which is a measly £500 per month. If someone offered you a job working 40 hours a week, unsociable hours, and the pay was £2.88 per hour,
£2.88 per hour?
Would you take it? I don't think so. This is where emotional pricing causes so much damage. We price our work reactively, reacting to the need to make ends meet each month and don't look at the big picture until it's time to do the tax return at the end of the year. It all sounds so obvious, yet I know so many creatives that work this way. And even when they set goals and make plans, if they don't stay on track, they fall straight back into that busy but broke trap, cutting prices just to fill the diary. I would like to introduce you to a new approach to accounting, a system called Profit First, designed by the incredible Mike McCulloch. There is no affiliation here, I'm not making any money telling you about this. It's an honest recommendation that comes from experience. The tagline on the Profit First book is transform your business from a cash-eating monster to a money-making machine, and it does exactly that by flipping the formula from sales minus expenses equals profit to sales minus profit equals expenses. In much the same way that the most effective weight loss strategy is to limit your portions by using a smaller plate, taking profit first and apportioning what remains can be incredibly transformational. The core idea of Profit First is really simple. Instead of hoping there's profit left at the end of the year, you decide in advance where your money should go. So you separate profit, tax, operating expenses, and your pay. Yes, your pay, separate from your profit. And suddenly you stop lying to yourself, because if there isn't enough money in the expenses pot to pay those business bills, something needs to change. This was the shift I needed. Your pricing has to support the structure of your business, not just the booking. If your prices don't allow for profit, tax, and paying yourself properly, then no amount of being busy will ever fix that. At this point, I recommend a really simple profit-first reality check. Mike recommends that for a small business with a real revenue of less than $250,000, which is less than £200,000, we should be creating 4 separate pots within our bank accounts, splitting that revenue as follows. In your profit pot, 5%, owner's pay, 50%, tax, 15%, and operating expenses, 30%. You can either start your reality check with how much you need or even want to earn. This is your owner's pay. Use that figure to work out if your current operating expenses are completely over the top. Or you can start your reality check with your current operating expenses and work out what real revenue figure you would need to make sure you could also pay yourself, your taxes, and make a profit. Either way, I expect you're in for a bit of a surprise. Now, use this opportunity to refine your pricing and cut operating expenses if necessary, so that your business supports the life you want to lead. This is a super brief overview. I will make a separate video explaining exactly how I use the Profit First system in my business and link it in the description below. Now, there is another part of pricing that doesn't get talked about enough. You can't sustainably charge prices that support your dream life if you're not confident you're producing genuinely great quality work. And that confidence doesn't come from affirmations, it comes from experience. You quite frankly won't feel confident increasing your prices if your work is poop. That doesn't mean beginners shouldn't get paid. It means there's a phase where your focus should be learning, improving, and building evidence for yourself that you can deliver. Because once you know you can deliver, pricing conversations change completely. The more weddings I shot, the more I edited, the more tricky situations I handled, the calmer I became. And that calm shows up everywhere in how you shoot, how you communicate, and how you price. This is where Profit First helped my mindset too. When the numbers are clear and your confidence in your work is solid, pricing stops feeling like a gamble. It starts feeling like a decision. If you feel physically uncomfortable at the thought of charging more right now, that's usually a sign that something still needs strengthening. It could be your workflow or simply more time behind the camera, and that's okay. In the next few videos, I'm going to break this down properly. How I structure packages with this in mind, how I use systems and AI to reduce the hours side of the equation, and yes, we will talk about gear, but only once the foundations are solid. If this video helped you feel a little less alone in your pricing struggles, I'd love you to subscribe. And if you want, leave a comment telling me what's the hardest part of pricing for you right now. Confidence comes from experience, sustainability comes from structure, and pricing sits right in the middle.